In fact, the information also is the ministry has made a statement. Air India Express flight IX-1344 operated by Boeing 737 aircraft from Dubai to Calicut overshot runway at Kozhikode at 1941 hours. So at around 7:41 p.m. tonight, no fire reported at the time of landing. There are 174 passengers, 10 infants, 2 pilots and 5 cabin crew on board the aircraft. As per the initial reports, rescue operations are on and passengers are being taken to hospital for medical care. We will soon share the update in this regard. That's the first statement that's coming in from the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Of course, there are Twitter messages coming in from Rahul Gandhi, from Shashi Tharoor, who's also a member of parliament from Kerala. And he says, tragic day for Kerala. First, the deaths in Munnar, and now this. I hear both pilots have died. This is Shashi Tharoor who makes this statement. Hope rescue efforts will succeed in saving all the passengers. He at least says the 2 passengers may not have survived this crash, but we will wait for the confirmation coming in from the Ministry of Civil Aviation, which has so far not said anything on this entire matter. The DG NDRF has been in touch with the Home Minister and rescue operations are on. The injured have been moved to MIMS and another hospital that are coming in. There are some names that are coming in. In fact, we have the pictures of the pilots. One was, of course, Mr. Sathe. Mr. Sathe, we don't know because Shashi Tharoor has tweeted that the pilots are no more, but we'll wait for an official confirmation coming in from the government. At the moment, it really looks like the rescue operations are happening, and we have visuals of those rescue operations coming in. Rahul Gandhi also says, shocked at the devastating news of a plane mishap in Kozhikode. Deepest condolences to the friends and family of those who died in this accident. Prayers to the speedy recovery of the injured. That's the latest information coming in. 2 casualties is what we are being told, and we are awaiting more details. At least 20 people have been moved, as injured people have been moved to the various hospitals close by. We're also waiting for an update from our reporter Vivek Narayanan, and we'll try and get him on the line. At the moment, we're also trying to speak to the DC of Kozhikode to get latest information coming in from the ground in Kerala. But pilot Deepak Sathe is one of the pilots, and news is that he could either be grievously injured. Okay, Vayan Sharma, aviation expert, joining me on the broadcast. Mr. Sharma, once again, rains, low visibility and a tabletop plateau landing runway, overshooting the runway is the cause. Is this now visibility issues? Is this the runway issues, because those happened last year, the warnings that came in, or is it once again a human error issue which also was highlighted in the Mangalore air crash?
Look, it's very early to say, to make a conjecture on something like this. And looking at the weather, normally whenever, the standard protocol is that when you land, when the runway is wet, when you have rain, looking at the amount of load that you're carrying, you calculate the runway distance. And I'm sure the pilot must have done that and realized that does he have enough space to stop the aircraft safely. Having said that, it's the job of AIB, which is the Accident Investigation Bureau, which will now launch the inquiry, go into each and every detail, and they would be able to, after looking at each and everything, be able to give a definitive answer on what it could be. Can be pilot error. As far as the runway distance is concerned, the runway has been operational for so many years, and every day aircraft take off and land from that place. So it's not that the runway is unsafe. Obviously, whichever runway is approved for operations of a particular aircraft, so a complete study is done whether that runway is capable of handling that class of aircraft, whether it's 737, an Airbus, or a big jet, wide body. So they calculate the amount of distance that they need for takeoff and runway, and on that basis only the airfields are cleared for operation of that particular aircraft.
Well, clearly at this moment too early to figure out what are the reasons of this crash, but we do know that the aircraft overshot the runway and has fallen 30 feet below into a valley, split into two. We are getting information about two casualties. We are awaiting further confirmations. Rajnath Singh, Union Defence Minister, also puts out a statement. Devastating news from Kozhikode, Kerala.
Yeah, Navika, the reports that we have is also just a unconfirmed report, but we believe there have been at least two casualties, if not three. But that includes a pilot. But that is what we have got from the civil aviation, the CISF on ground, because our teams are rushing from nearby areas. They were there for the flood and rains and other challenges which were already facing Kerala. So our teams were there, including for the landslide. So as directed by the Home Minister and also the Home Secretary, and after discussions with the local authorities, our teams are also rushing in to join the rescue and search operations.
How far are your teams from the location of the Calicut airport, Mr. Pradhan?
They should be reaching anytime, Navika, anytime. They had started long ago, and they should be reaching anytime. They were not very far when I last spoke to them, so they should be reaching anytime.
So, Mr. Pradhan, you're confirming that the pilot, Mr. Sathe, may be no more?
Well, I'll not confirm that. I'll leave it to the authorities of the civil aviation. But this is what we have heard from the people on ground, because we are in touch as we move into the situation. So this is what, as unconfirmed report, I can tell you.
The fact that the aircraft split into two and there was no fire, does that give us some hope that the number of casualties would be far lesser than in case there had been a fire in the aircraft?
Of course. That is a saving grace, I would say, because we must remember that every time an aircraft gets into such a situation where the fuselage is also separated, the first option, first priority is to evacuate the passengers through the chutes and all that. So that probably could be done because there was no fire on the body, and all the passengers could be evacuated onto the tarmac and onto the building. So that certainly is a saving grace that gave us the breathing space to evacuate all passengers, which was priority number one.